evening. I'm Megan Wolf.
And I'm Jeremy Dawes. Our main headlines tonight.
Studying, starting!
Every single one of you's a bit Jesus.
Vamos a ver si estamos en directo. Vamos a ver qué tal. Es una prueba. Vamos a ver qué tal está esto.
Now you start to see, yes? The people never happy. It's never enough. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
Hi, David, I have a call for you. I'm just putting it through. All right, mate. Dave here. Listen, I know you've only come in to clean up the...
A ver, se suponía que iba a haber subtítulos o algo, ¿no? Texto español. Bueno, no sé dónde se verá eso, ¿no? Así que subtítulos.
place, but I've got a bit caught up, so you're going to have to run the news tonight. Now, don't worry, it's not hard, and I'm going to stay on the phone and help you. First, I'm going to give you a quick tour of the broadcast room, so if you're not doing it already, look forwards towards all those screens. Right, look up at the top. That coloured bar is your audience. You want to keep the viewers going up and not down. Underneath that, you've got the screens. The one on the right is the broadcast screen. That's what the viewers are seeing at home. It's only a couple of seconds behind the master screen there in the middle. That's the one you control. Now, the four small screens on the left show the different signals coming from the studio, and you can choose between them using the numbered buttons on the vision mixer at the bottom left. Don't worry, I'll talk you through it and you'll pick it up in no time. Now, have a look to your left. These plugs control everything in the studio. I've left them set up for you, so provided you haven't fiddled with them, all you have to do now is throw the master trip switch and we're in business. Once you've got the power on, face the front again. When I say jacket, you say potato. Jacket, potato, jacket, potato. When I say jacket, you say potato. Jacket, potato, jacket, potato, jacket, potato, jacket, potato. When I say jacket, you say potato. Jacket, potato, jacket, potato. When I say jacket, you say potato. Jacket, potato, jacket, potato, jacket, potato, jacket, potato. You can see on the broadcast screen that we're in the end titles for the show before us. Fortunately, they go on for fucking ages, so there's plenty of time for me to explain... Oh, right, okay, they're over, so we haven't got long now till the broadcast. Right, quickly, mate, look down under the desk. You can see a load of videotapes on the left. They're your adverts. Pick any three and load them into the machines on the right. When you've done that, look up to the front again.
That's followed at 8 p.m. by award-winning documentary series The Shape of Now, which tonight looks at the
history of the New Lane soap and its importance during the Great Blackouts of 1871. Not one to miss. At 9 p.m, sit back and relax with multiple award-winning movie, The Freedom of Being Colin, taking us all the way up to 11:15, where, as
Prawn and mayonnaise?
You know seafood makes me come out in pustules.
Yeah, I thought it might increase our viewing figures.
Every day. You offer me prawns every day.
Right, mate, load the ads. The broadcast is starting soon. Right, quick as you can. Select screen 1.
4.
but now, it's time to join Jeremy Donaldson.
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main stories tonight.
Okay, we're all good. Next is going to be the throw to the news titles on screen 2. There'll be a countdown, but I'll count you in as well. Just relax, mate. It's all gravy.
Honest Andy's totally independent and corners the flowered market. Top chat. Sports fans everywhere celebrate as popular footballer Johnny Hamsleeves wins Sports Personality of the Year. And a spoonful of sugar. Megan will be chatting with movie star Lawrence Blunderclatch about his new movie, The Medicated. And, of course, we'll be going live to Advance headquarters to hear what the leaders of this fledgling party have to say on their historic...
Right, button 2 in 3, 2, 1. Lovely, mate. Next thing is the throwback to Jeremy with button 1 when that globe in the middle shrinks down and vanishes. Here it comes. Switch to screen 1. Now. Lovely, mate.
The votes are in and it's a decisive win for Advance.
We often get a bit of interference around this time, mate. Keep your eye on that machine at the bottom right and use the slider that's flashing there to move the wave up and down, keeping the green bit in the white bit.
But critics have accused him of a severe lack of actual policies and of being...
Hurry up, mate. We're losing audience. Use the slider.
...conceded defeat to Advance's overwhelming mandate, but have yet to appear publicly. However, former Home Secretary...
Right, it's going well. All you've got to do now is play the advert at the end of the segment. Make sure you don't play it too early or we'll all get fired. Now, the clock at the top is counting you down to the advert. When it reaches 0, press one of the 3 play ad buttons over there at the bottom right. I normally play the first one at the first break and so on, but you can play them in any order you want. I'll count you into it as well, but keep your eye on the clock.
To hear the co-leader's acceptance speech.
And 3, 2, 1, advert.
1 minute back, everybody.
Jeremy, I need you to fill after the ads.
What? Why?
Wanker Snatch is running late.
Oh, I thought I'd ask him about the election.
Personally, I wouldn't try to confuse him with any big words.
That's the same policy we use with you.
I thought that was our little secret.
That's all right, he doesn't remember anything I tell him.
I'm deeply uncomfortable with your burgeoning friendship.
Love you too.
Yeah.
Wicked. We've made it to the first ad break. You're doing great, mate. But this is where it starts getting a bit trickier. This next sequence is what we call a multicam sequence, because you're going to be cutting between multiple cameras to keep things interesting. A lot of it's down to personal taste, but here's 3 good rules of thumb. 1. Try and keep the shot on whoever is doing the talking. 2. Don't stay on the same shot for too long, 10 seconds at the most. So if you're on the person who's talking, try and throw in the odd reaction shot or pull out to the wide shot for a bit just to keep it interesting. 3. Don't stay on reaction shots for too long. A couple of seconds is usually enough. Then the audience want to see who's doing the talking, yeah? Stick to these rules and you'll be fine. It's not as complicated as it sounds. You've seen programmes on television, haven't you? Make it look like those. Might as well get screen 1 selected now. No need to wait for the broadcast to start. Try and stay ahead, mate.
We're coming back from the break. Quiet in the studio.
Thank you so much.
10 seconds, everybody. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Later we'll be hearing from shock election winners Advance. But first
Get ready to go to Megan on screen 4.
is here with the star of both stage and screen. Megan?
Thank you, Jeremy. Megan Wolfe, culture correspondent. And today I have a guest who starred in everything from Shakespeare
Right, go to Blunderclatch on screen 3 when she says his name.
by none other than Lawrence Blunderclatch. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my dear, I do hope you believe me when I tell you that being with you here today is among
Switch to 2 for the wide now.
May I say, having you here with us is among ours.
Right, now just try and stay on whoever's talking.
Latest movie, which is called The Medicated.
The Medicated, yes.
Wow, what was that like?
Well, as I said to Peter at the Rat, that's Peter Jensen, the director.
Give us a look at Megan's reaction.
He's a wonderful chap, he really is.
Lovely, now back to Thunder Twat.
All terribly successful. I said to Peter, what a wild ride this has been. And do you know what, Megan? I really meant that.
Wow, that is fantastic. And am I right in saying that the character you play in this movie is quite an academic one?
Absolutely right. A scientist.
Was that a challenge at all?
What exactly are you implying? But seriously, yes, you're right. It was a complete departure from my last starring role when I played Sergeant Brock Rockman in Bullet Man. You'll remember that was the true story of one soldier's fight for a love that surpasses all others. A love, of course, for freedom. I think it's grossed over $1 billion, but honestly, who's counting?
It's a role that saw you scoop 2 Best Actor awards, if I remember correctly.
It's so sweet of you to mention it, but I really am not in it for the awards, although those 3 little statues do take pride of place on my mantelpiece.
With all the others, I'm sure. So, if you're not doing it for the awards, what is it then that drives you?
Oh, that is a beautiful question, Megan, and not easy to answer. Like you, I'm afraid. Cut me, and I will bleed. And often, that's how it feels, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Bleeding, giving, suffering for one's audience. I suppose in the end, I do it for the difference it makes. I do it for the I inspire. The little people. Most of all, I think I do it for the positive change that I can bring about in the world.
And today, of course, we're in for some real change, it looks like, in the coming few months. What do you make of this historic election result?
Oh, well. Well, now you're asking. Historic election result. Indeed. Historic is the word. Well, it's difficult, isn't it? Very difficult. But I think I've always been quite clear that when it comes to politics, that one should always strive to not fuck things up.
Shit, he swore. Oh, well, don't worry, he won't do it again.
Sorry, I said fuck.
Shit, he did it again. Okay, don't panic. I'll explain how to deal with swearing at the break.
Medicated, which opens next week.
Right, they've swapped the shot of Jeremy on screen 1 for a VT of the movie clip. You'll get a countdown on the screen, but I'll just let Megan cue you in.
My character, Dr. Lance Hemlock, is faced with a decision that could affect humanity's very survival.
Exciting stuff. Let's take a look. Exciting stuff.
Cool, looks like Blunderclatch is losing it in the studio, but we ain't got time for that. There's more interference coming. It's a bit trickier this time, mate. Use that little flashing joystick to the left of the slider, and as the frequency changes, match it to the white bit by gently pushing the stick to the right.
It's not your fault.
You think I don't know that?
No, mate, drag right.
Nolan's mustn't.
Dr. Lance, to you, Miss Flanagan.
Jubbly, mate. Next, we're going to change the aperture. Same as last time, but this time, move the joystick up. Upwards, mate, upwards.
Told me. I didn't listen.
Well, we're not sure, but here in St Bumley on the Tate, we've got a big hill and the bus comes twice daily. Visit picturesque St Bumley this summer and experience a holiday that's
Wicked. We've made it to the first ad break. You're doing great, mate. But this is where it starts getting a bit trickier. This next sequence is what we call a multicam sequence, because you're going to be cutting between multiple cameras to keep things interesting. A lot of it's down to personal taste, but here's 3 good rules of thumb. 1. Try and keep the shot on whoever is doing the talking. 2. Don't stay on the same shot for too long, 10 seconds at the most. So if you're on the person who's talking, try and throw in the odd reaction shot or pull out to the wide shot for a bit just to keep it interesting. 3. Don't stay on reaction shots for too long. A couple of seconds is usually enough. Then the audience want to see who's doing the talking, yeah? Stick to these rules and you'll be fine. It's not as complicated as it sounds. You've seen programmes on television, haven't you? Make it look like those. Might as well get screen 1 selected now. No need to wait for the broadcast to start. Try and stay ahead, mate.
We're coming back from the break. Quiet in the studio.
Thank you so much.
10 seconds, everybody. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Later we'll be hearing from shock election winners Advance. But first,
get ready to go to Megan on screen 4.
Is here with a star of both stage and screen. Megan?
Thank you, Jeremy. Megan Wolfe, culture correspondent. And today I have a guest who starred in everything from Shakespeare...
Right, go to Blunderclatch on screen 3 when she says his name.
By none other than Lawrence Blunderclatch. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, my dear, I do hope you believe me when I tell you that being with you here today is among...
Switch to 2 for the wide now.
May I say having you here with us is among ours.
Right, now just try and stay on whoever's talking.
Latest movie, which is called The Medicated.
The Medicated, yes.
Wow, what was that like?
Well, as I said to Peter the Rat, that's Peter Jensen, the director.
Give us a look at Megan's reaction. Lovely. Now back to Thunder Twat.
I've worked with him on several movies, all terribly successful. I said to Peter, what a wild ride this has been. And do you know what, Megan? I really meant that.
Wow, that is fantastic. And am I right in saying that the character you play in this movie is quite an academic one?
Absolutely right. A scientist.
Was that a challenge at all?
What exactly are you implying? But seriously, yes, you're right. It was a complete departure from my last starring role when I played Sergeant Brock Rockman in Bullet Man. You'll remember that that was the true story of one soldier's fight for a love that surpasses all others. A love, of course, for freedom. I think it's grossed over $1 billion, but honestly, who's counting?
It's a role that saw you scoop 2 Best Actor awards, if I remember correctly.
It's so sweet of you to mention it, but I really am not in it for the awards, although those 3 little statues do take pride of place on my mantelpiece.
With all the others, I'm sure. So, if you're not doing it for the awards, what is it then that drives you?
Oh, that is a beautiful question, Megan, and not easy to answer. Like you, I'm afraid. Cut me, and I will bleed. And often, that's how it feels, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Bleeding, giving, suffering for one's audience. I suppose in the end, I do it for the difference it makes. I do it for the people that I inspire, the little people. But most of all, I think I do it for the positive change that I can bring about in the world.
And today, of course, we're in for some real change, it looks like, in the coming few months. What do you make of this historic election result?
Oh, well. Well, now you're asking. Historic election result, indeed. Historic is the word. Well, difficult, isn't it? Very difficult. But I think I've always been quite clear that when it comes to politics, one should always strive to not fuck things up.
Shit, he swore. Oh, well, don't worry, he won't do it again. Shit, he did it again. Okay, don't panic. I'll explain how to deal with swearing at the break.
Medicated, which opens next week.
Right, they've swapped the shot of Jeremy on screen 1 for a VT of the movie clip. You'll get a countdown on the screen, but I'd just let Megan cue you in.
My character, Dr. Lance Hemlock, is faced with a decision that could affect humanity's very survival.
Exciting stuff. Let's take a look. Exciting stuff.
Cool, looks like Blunderclash is losing it in the studio, but we ain't got time for that. There's more interference coming. It's a bit trickier this time, mate. Use that little flashing joystick to the left of the slider, and as the frequency changes, match it to the white bit by gently pushing the stick to the right. No, mate, drag right.
You think I don't know that?
Now we're going to squash the frequency back by dragging left.
No one is flattened. Think of Carol.
That's Dr. Lance to you, Miss Flanagan.
It'll do for now. Next we're going to change the amplitude. Same as last time, but this time, move the joystick up.
Dr. Hemlock.
You told me, but I didn't listen.
Doctor.
Try and keep in time with the white guides. Right, now let's match it back by going downwards.
The virus. The sterility. This formula. This is the key. Yes!
Frankly, mate, you're lucky to still be on the air. Maybe get some practice in.
We have to ask ourselves.
At the end of the clip, you'll want to play another ad. Remember to use the clock at the top to count you in. Right, I guess I better explain how to deal with bleeping out swear words. As you probably notice, the broadcast screen here is about 2 seconds behind the master screen here. When someone says a naughty word, the bleep button lights up, like this. 2 seconds later, you'll hear that swear word going out on the broadcast, and you need to hold down the censor button for as long as the swear word lasts. It can take a bit of practice getting used to hearing 2 things at once. Just stay calm and you'll get it. And if you can't tell when to bleep, just above the button, you'll literally be able to see the sound scrolling by. All you've got to do is hold it down while the red bit is over the red line. Simple. Of course, if you do it by eye, you'll have to take your eye off the screens. That's why real professionals do it by ear. Most people like to have the volume of the broadcast screen a little bit below the master screen. Let's set it now. As you turn it up, you'll hear the advert getting louder. Good. You're set to start censoring. Like I say, it takes a little practice, but I'll try and help you through it, and soon we'll have you bleeping like a pro. Remember, button lights up, count 1, 2, and hold it down.
Steal and a deal. We got those shares. You want crazy? We got crazy. Crazy Neil's got crazy deals.
Remember to select screen 1 now that you've got the feed. Don't wait for the broadcast to go live. That's too late. You can use the vision mixing buttons on the left to select the screen you want.
Seriously, Chadworth.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. And I'm told we can now go live to Advance Headquarters, where the 2 leaders, Peter Clement and Julia Salisbury, are about to make their acceptance address.
Cut to the outside broadcast. Oh shit, he's pissed. Get ready to bleep.
Where do I start? What a day.
They said we couldn't do it. They certainly did. They used every dirty, low-down, lying, southern bastard trick they had against us. But you, the people, you saw right through their shack.
I'm sorry about the language there.
Sorry about that. I've had a couple of celebrated pints. Makes me coarser than the Granny's fanny.
Horribly put.
Just bleep
Let's
the
be
wrong
honest, who
word.
can blame Peter for celebrating?
Who can blame Peter
Throughout the
for
campaign,
Get back to
you've
who's
heard us say
talking.
that advance are not a political party. A party is what you have when things are going well. When the country is suffering, you don't need a party. You need a team. A team that can change things. But today is day one of a new future. A better, fairer future. So perhaps we should all be celebrating.
Except for the rich. For them, the party's over. They shouldn't be celebrating. They should be putting their shitty pants on and opening their dusty checkbooks. On and opening their dusty checkbooks.
Again, not inaccurate, but not
Too
before we
long on
came
this,
out here
mate.
to address the nation, we used our executive powers to pass the Assets and Wealth Act. Working with the Wealth Office, we have produced a definitive list of every person in the country with wealth into the millions.
You know this sort of problem. You know this sort of problem. Because the likes of you and me are not welcome in their gated community.
Tomorrow we will be introducing a sweeping reform of the tax system in this country. No more hiding wealth offshore. No more hiding wealth funds or creative accounting. Trust funds or creative accounting. Unavoidable set of tax laws.
So all you bastard public school snobs have got nowhere to hide. I've got nowhere to hide. We revoke your passport. We revoke your passport. You want to leave like you threatened before the election. First, fine. You're going to pay first. You're going to pay up.
Advance are going to turn this country from a nation of warring individuals to properly fund health and education, to properly fund health and living standards of us all. To raise the living standards of us all.
We'd have to raise billions. But you'll see when we've reclaimed what's ours. When we've reclaimed what's ours, that's absolute. So to you posh twats,
The people who pay your accountants to serve them drinks in their private clubs, to serve them drinks in their private clubs. The people whose children you raise. Advance have this to say to you. Advance have this to say to you. We are coming for your sports cars and your mansions and your vineyards. We will put the wealth of this country back. We will put the wealth of this country back in the hands of the people who created it. In the hands of the people who created it.
Today.
Yes. It ends today. It ends and tomorrow today. We'll start making it fair again. We'll start making it like we promised we would.
And until then, ladies and gents, I suggest we all get pissed.
I can't argue with that.
Put it down a bit long there, mate.
Well, interesting acceptance speech there from the leaders of advance. And our apologies for the fruity language. And our apologies for the fruity language. Out for you in time. Hopefully we got that bleeped out for you in time. Someone's going to be in trouble. If not, someone's going to be in trouble. So, as the country braces itself for new government, that's all from us this evening at the National Nightly News. We'll be back tomorrow with full coverage of the first day under advance. I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Have a peaceful Jeremy Donaldson. Have a peaceful.
And we're out. Good job, everybody. And we're out. Good job, everyone.
Not really got the hang of it, have you? I suggest you get some practice in, have another go, that sort of thing. I wish I could help you more, but I'm out of here. This country's fucked, mate. See ya.
So lucky. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Not going for a drink?
No, got a date.
This is the story of you and how you're stupid and asleep. It's about how you were promised the Elysian fields, but you ended up filleting Satan for the salty crumbs. It's
When the programme's finished, you'll get a broadcast report. It's 3 pages. This first page shows you how well the broadcast went. Each sequence and an overall grade. Remember, grades mean bonuses, and they keep the boss happy. If you want to know more about how it went, select more info. If not, select continue to move to the next page. Right, this is the important page. It tells you how much you're going to get paid and how much wealth you have overall. That bollocks at the bottom shows you the financial state of our main advertisers. But you don't own any fucking shares, you're a cleaner for God's sake, so why would you care? This is the last page and it tells you the state of the world, tells you how well the government's doing, and down the bottom there, this one's important, tells you what Channel 1 currently thinks of you. In other words, what the boss thinks. Alright mate, welcome to the archive. This is where you can have a quick experts. Let's start with broadcast. Pop in there now. Over on the left, that's all the broadcasts that you've done. Choose any one of them and select load tape. Once it's finished loading, you can use the rewind and the fast forward at the bottom there to help you get to the bit you want to see.
Well, in a few moments, we'll be going live to tonight's national nightly news. But before that, let's take a look at what's coming up later on tonight on Channel 1. At 7 o'clock, it's the semi-final of the quotation game, and it's a nail-biting quiz tonight as a team of nuclear physicists
during the actual broadcast. Difference is you can mute any combination of them so you can have a listen to the stuff you weren't allowed to show. Select the broadcast and give it a go, and when you're done listening to the backstage secrets, hit back. up and get on with it, eh, so I can get back to my guests. First of all, let's get the power on. You need to get at least the bottom 4 plugs on.
Los 4 interruptores de abajo. Esperen a ver cómo estoy. Dice... ¿Pero qué 4?
Right, let's load up the adverts. You might want to have a bit of a think about it. Your decisions have consequences, don't they? Right, you can see they finally got the old headline system up and working again, and the Vision Mixer's already in headline mode because headlines always come at the start. It's really simple, mate. These 2 buttons at the bottom of the Vision Mixer, you can see they now have A and B on them, and they're to help you pick image A on the left bottom screen here, or image B on the right bottom screen here. It's really simple. This little clock here will count down the number of seconds you have to make your decision. Now, you're in auto headline mode, so if you don't bother to pick a photo before that clock runs out, the machine's just going to pick one at random for you. I just want to say one more thing, mate. The pictures you choose to show these people, well, that's how the public is going to perceive them, and that's going to affect their lives. So, like with the adverts, choose carefully. And we're off. Good luck, mate. If I get time off, I'll be back in the next break. Yeah, I'm coming, darling.
Snuggle hugs.
That's the bastard.
Yeah, I
I'll
wouldn't get
certainly
one
be
of
tuning in
those.
for that.
My friend Janet says theirs gets
Finally
really hot.
tonight
Is this
at 10
Janet who
PM,
thinks dogs
it's a
have
bit
their
of
own
escapism
secret language?
with Lawrence
Yeah, the one that
Wonderfutch's
mistrusts the moon.
acclaimed action
10
movie,
seconds,
The
everybody.
Not the best
Taking us
source of
up to the
consumer
National Weather
advice, then.
Report and
Don't
close
blame me
down
when it
at
explodes.
5:15
Going in
midnight.
5,
But before all
4,
that,
3.
it's time to go over to Jeremy Donaldson for tonight's National Night
Good
News.
evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Good evening, our main headlines Jeremy Donaldson. Destination unknown. Tonight. At the end of Advance's first full week in office, we ask exactly who's leading this charge. We ask exactly. Tonight, I'll be discussing what the new future may hold. With a leading economist and radical free thinker. With the Assets and Wealth Act on the brink of raising living standards for the vast majority of the country, I'll be asking my guests if we're on the way to a new future. If we're on the way to a new future. Remington Smith has appointed Sophia Remington as their new CEO. The following photo, taken from our archive, gives us a sense of this influential young fireman at the tender age of 23, becomes the youngest female CEO. Sophia Remington has always impressed. She was top of her class at university. She was top and graduated with the highest honours. And immediately with the highest honours. The markets have responded favourably to Sophia's appointment. The stocks rising 30 points in light of the announcement. In her first press conference this afternoon, Sophia announced a children's toy named Mr. Sophia promises it will be all the rage this Christmas. But concerns have been raised about the product safety. Making us back. Intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong, marine biologist David Wong, Swarsborg and marine biologist have today set off to explore Dante's tape. The recently discovered cave system was previously thought unreachable, But thanks to a new breakthrough underwater technology, the pair hope to successfully reach the imposing central cabin and the undiscovered plant species it contains. This is, of course, only the latest in a series of successful expeditions for this unlikely expedition. In a joint statement about the dangers their team might face, the pair stated, "We will face the plentiful challenges together, like we always have. Playing the field." Rumours about the sporting legend Johnny Hansleeves is not leaving Hansleeves, one of the capital's hottest clubs. The footballer was caught while out celebrating being named Sports Personality of the Year last week, as reported by this very programme. Johnny is seen here with socialite and performance artist Tiffany Lamore, whose recent show, Inside My Snatch, has kept her firmly on the moustache. Could romance be on the cards for these two? And grievous bodily charm. And with advance promising a radical new business how afraid should we actually be? I'll be going live around the country to talk with people who've seen the criminal justice system, with more and more powers passing to the police, and less oversight. Are we using an advanced-shaped sledgehammer to crack a nut? All that, a mega move for the group of young actors already experiencing the positive side of the new Assets and Wealth Act firsthand. They'll be talking and performing later. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News. Government's swift enactment of the Assets and Wealth Act. We're talking about advances first week in office and what the new future holds. Joining me are Katie Brightman, a leading economist, and Alan James, a leading economist. Alan James is right. The free man's guide to waking up. The government certainly haven't dragged their heels on delivering some of the legislation they promised. But what does the Wealth Act mean for us?
Nothing, Jeremy. We're still vassal slaves. We're just in prettier cages.
Confident dismissal there. Katie Brightman, do you agree?
I'm afraid I don't.
Katie Brightman, do you agree?
I think that advance have realised that the current economic system of unlimited, unending growth is untenable, so they're changing things up.
There I agree with you. They're moving to the next steps in the grand plan.
Grand plan, Alan.
It's all in my book. Alan James is right. It's all in my book, Jeremy. Alan James is right. We're to become the great herd. Ignorant, sterile, and short-lived. That's what they want.
Or perhaps advance have just realised that if we carry on the way we are, we will destroy ourselves and this planet in a mad orgy of consumption. If you'll excuse the colourful metaphor.
Yes, orgy is the right word. Yes, only it'll be the overlords having an orgy on our poor broken backs. It's all in my book. Alan James is
shamelessly self-promoting. How do you think the rest of the world will respond to this new approach?
I think they're watching carefully. Advance are the most destructive threat that the world powers have faced since the last great war.
Yes, Katie's right. War is inevitable.
Thank you, but that isn't.
And this will not be a war like we've ever seen before. We're talking millions of deaths. We're talking high-tech weapons that can level entire cities. We're talking level entire cities. Mock me all you like, Jeremy, but when they murder your parents and they poison your food and they take you away to their camp for hypno-brainwashing, you'll be laughing then.
That might be a great way to sell books, Alan, but you know full well that isn't going to happen in a democracy.
Democracy is dead.
Yes, advance are radical, and change is always frightening, but the truth is that the Wealth and Assets Act has made more than 90% of the population wealthier and is on target to produce a permanent end to poverty.
What this young lady doesn't understand, Jeremy, is that these are the same people. Maybe they've rebranded, but it's all a little circus act to keep us from seeing the tyrant behind the curtain.
That's where you're wrong, Alan. For a start, they've mobilised the youth vote like we've never seen before.
You say mobilise, I call it grooming. The grooming of an entire generation to walk happily into eternal bondage. They're like psychic paedophiles.
What's based on the facts? Katie, what are you based on the facts?
The Assets and Wealth Act is only the first step. Advance now have a historic budgetary surplus, and as well as properly funding our public services, they're already funding unprecedented amounts into scientific research in the arts.
Or, as I call them in my book, or Franken science and opiates. Franken science and opiates. Like opiates. See?
Can we get back to the issue at hand, please, Ellen? Can we get back to the issue at hand, please, Ellen?
It's all coming from the water, the chemicals. It's all coming from the
pumping
water,
it full of
the
belief
chemicals
juice.
Don't get me wrong, I want to see these changes, but only if they're sustainable. If advanced lose their power after spending half of our GDP on dismantling infrastructure, that could be catastrophic.
The catastrophe is that they're succeeding. They've got us sat here talking about their puppet show.
All right, we're running out of time. Quickly, Alan. All right, we're running out of time. What does the future look like to you, Alan?
A bleak space where we've all been figuratively sodomized into submission.
We might be on the eve of a brave new world. God knows we need some change, but we need to be cautious. Let's walk forwards with our eyes open. Let's walk
Two very different visions of the future there. Two very different visions of the future. Katie Brightman, thank you for joining me. Katie Brightman, when we come back, thank you for joining me. I'll be investigating law and order. Before Megan meets some beneficiaries of the Assets and Wealth Act. That's all coming up tonight on the National Nightly News. On the
1 minute back.
You know, I think they might do some good.
I hope so too, Jeremy.
How much are you being paid by them then?
Shut the fuck up, Alan. I've never heard so much shit in my life.
We love them.
Well, we'll see who's full of shit, won't we?
Alan, I can explain it to you, but unfortunately I can't understand it for you.
Human-like voice to keep them company when you can't.
Well, I don't know what she meant by that.
And his incredible real accent.
Right, mate, Christ, I'm absolutely fucking fine, I tell you. How's it going, actually? Fuck it, I don't care, I hate the fucking news. Oh, bloody hell, I love this tune, though. All right, mate, see you later, bye!
I'm just saying I'll do what I can, that's all.
I just think you will. She's good. You know she is.
I've said a bit of word, and that's all I can do.
10 seconds, everybody. Little drinky's going to the big bang punch with water.
If that sticks, I'll just
Selling out fast.
3.
Welcome back. In our second segment, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the state of law and order in our country. Advance have already tasked what they are calling a solutions team to move this serious social problem to the top of the list. Tonight, we go behind the headlines. To meet the people who live with the criminal justice system every day of their lives. First up, we have Gregory Judge, a lawyer who sees the problems close up. Can you hear me, Gregory? Can you hear me, Gregory?
I've got you, Jeremy. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I've got What's it like on the front line of the hard face of the cold hand of justice?
Well, as you can imagine, Jeremy, we are massively understaffed in this country. We're working every hour we can just to try and cope with the caseloads on our desk.
Which must affect the quality of support you can offer.
We can barely keep up with demand, Jeremy. There just simply isn't enough being done at a systemic level to relieve the problem. We need more support from ministers. We need more support from ministers. We need change at a structural level, Jeremy. At a structural level. Timed up.
It never is it?
Timed up.
I'll be at my mother's. It never is it?
Just hang on. Just hang on. The problem isn't a local one, Jeremy. It's nationwide. Just, Jeremy, it's nationwide. Just, Jeremy,
have you mentioned your affairs? Have you mentioned your affairs?
Well, the affairs of the Justice Department that we should be concerned about.
Hello, Mr. Donaldson. Hello, Mrs. Jones.
We need legislation to relieve the pressure on our public
Sorry to interrupt the news, Mr. Donaldson. Can I have a moment to tell my husband I'm leaving?
Yes, I totally understand. Quite the picture of a burdened legal sector there. Gregory Judge, thank you for joining us.
Me van a echar del curro. Bueno, vamos a dejarlo ya por aquí.